Millions of young people tuned in to watch the big boxing match between Logan Paul and KSI, which ended in a majority draw. And that obviously upset a lot of people who eagerly wanted to see a clear winner. KSI fans thought he had the fight in the bag. Logan Paul fans thought the opposite. But many believed that KSI would come out the winner, as he was the YouTuber with the most boxing experience, even if it was limited experience. Today, Life's Biggest Questions asks, should KSI have won the boxing match? Hello and welcome back to Life's Biggest Questions, the channel that turns any question into one of life's greatest. I'm your host, Charlotte Dobray, and if this is your first time here, make sure you subscribe to Life's Biggest Questions and turn on those notifications. If you want to connect with the creative team behind this video, check out the description box down below for the links to our social media accounts. The fight between controversial YouTubers KSI and Logan Paul is being called the biggest internet event in history. Thousands showed up from all over the world to watch the event live. Hundreds of thousands paid to watch it on YouTube, and millions watched it illegally on streaming sites. The ratings were staggering. At 2 million viewers, the ratings were higher than two of the biggest pro boxing matches of 2018. The actual event went off without a hitch. The Manchester Arena was full to the brim with pumped fans who had paid up to $200 for floor seats. But during the 6 rounds, neither Logan Paul or KSI managed to land a heavy punch. After the fight, both YouTubers agreed to a rematch, which will take place in 2019. It was clear that Logan Paul had trained heavily for the fight, with trainer Bradley Martin. Logan Paul has a lot of experience as a wrestler, and he's way bigger than KSI. At the weigh-in, he looked like he was ready to pose for a Calvin Klein ad, not gonna lie. But KSI also heavily trained for the fight, and he trained with one of the greatest boxers of all time, Floyd Mayweather, at the famous TMT gym in Las Vegas. Light heavyweight contender Badu Jack was also present. It should also be noted that Logan Paul appeared to miss a punch in a training video just weeks before the fight. But as we have seen, with the case of two amateur boxers who are more famous for being internet clowns than professional athletes, it doesn't matter how many different combinations you try out or who's training you. When it comes down to it, real experience in the ring is the only thing that matters, which is why so many thought that KSI would be the clear winner of this fight. Now, we can't show clips from the fight here because it was pay-per-view, but here's a breakdown of what happened. As Logan Paul entered the ring, he was calm and collected, wearing a Bane-esque mask. KSI, on the other hand, chose to enter the ring with a threatening black skull mask covering his entire face. Logan spent the beginning of the first round taunting KSI by laughing and keeping his hands down at times so that his face was unprotected. But at the end of the round, he came at KSI with several punches. The first round went to Logan. In the second round, it was clear that KSI's ego was a little bit bruised, so he desperately tried to swing at Logan. Unfortunately, none of these swings resulted in a substantial hit. After the bell, KSI threw a punch at Logan, which caused Jake Paul to enter the ring in anger. But alas, round 2 also went to Logan Paul. Next, round 3 and 4. KSI got fired up and finally managed to land a few punches, as Logan began to get visibly tired. Round 3 and 4 both went to KSI. Round 5 and 6 were the most tense of all. As the entire arena was on their feet, Logan landed several punches, and KSI finished the round by landing a strong right hook. KSI's stamina served him in round 6, and he landed several punches. There was 1 minute left and Logan looked defeated. But the judges wrapped up the match by declaring a majority draw, a result that left the crowd booing, and both YouTubers demanded a rematch. The rematch is in Los Angeles next year, and it will give both YouTubers an opportunity to make more money. After the fight, Logan said that he felt he won, but is that necessarily true? One critic of the fight, Vlad Savov, said that it was more of a Logan Paul and KSI collaboration than an actual fight. But he did admit that it started off with both KSI and Logan exhibiting quickness and technique vastly superior than that of their younger brothers, who boxed in the match before. Unfortunately, this only lasted about 30 seconds. It seemed like Logan was not really taking the fight seriously until he was walloped by KSI in the 3rd round. Most sports critics labeled the fight as a farce. The crowd seemed to be with KSI. They stood up every time KSI looked like he was getting ahead. Logan Paul started off strong, but it's clear he succumbed to his own exhaustion toward the end, which allowed KSI to take the lead. That being said, the fight was sloppy at best. Former UFC middleweight champion Michael Brisbane said that he found it almost insulting to everybody who's dedicated their life to being a fighter. CEO of England Boxing called the fight nothing more than a publicity stunt, adding that it sends the wrong message and does a disservice to the sport of amateur boxing and those who put a considerable amount of time, effort, and commitment into a sport that provides opportunities to participate from grassroots entrant level through to Olympic level in safe and accountable environments. To sports experts, neither Logan Paul or KSI won. They were both losers. Another way of looking at it though is that both YouTubers won the fight, likely millions. Logan redeemed himself from being the Suicide Forest guy, and KSI likely has made a new career for himself as a YouTube boxer. We already knew there was going to be a rematch before the fight. It was already scheduled. How convenient. What do you think? Should KSI have won the boxing match? Let me know in those comments. For now, I'm Charlotte Dobre, and you've been watching Life's Biggest Questions. To continue watching, check out the playlist clickable on the screen right now. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, and turn on those notifications, and we will see you in a future episode of Life's Biggest Questions.